It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview an Italian professional softball player and Athletes Unlimited softball player, Erika Piancastelli. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to play softball and professionally?
Yeah, softball is a huge part of my life and my parents' life. So my mom played on the Olympic Italian team in Sydney 2000. So she went to the Olympics in Sydney, and my dad played baseball. So growing up, softball kind of was a given for me. And once I got to college and I started to kind of figure out like how competitive softball can be in the elite level and playing against really good teams and just having so much fun with it at that level, I just knew that I didn't really want it to end after college. I do also know that because softball isn't that big of a sport, it's very hard to go play pro, and you can't really make a living off of it. So that was always in my head, but I did get the opportunity to go play scrapyard right after college. They're not a team anymore, but that was kind of like my rookie year, and it was like I think the best transition I could have ever gotten in the pro league because they took care of us. There was a lot of older girls that were able to kind of teach me the ways of pro softball. And then Athletes Unlimited started last year, and I think Athletes Unlimited is the best league I've ever been a part of, and I'm so excited to see how many doors will open for so many younger softball players. And I'm super excited for season 2, which I actually leave in a couple of days. So I'm really excited for that. And it's just being a professional softball player probably is one of the best careers, I think, as an athlete.
That's so amazing. What was it your college time like playing for McNeese State?
Best 4 years of my life. McNeese changed me, not only as a player and an athlete, but it changed me as a woman. It changed me, changed my mindset. It changed the way I view things. McNeese was kind of like my new beginning in softball. It's where I learned everything. I kind of restarted from the basics with my coach, and he kind of pushed me past my limits every single year, which was very hard while I was in it. But like, looking back now, I said, I always tell him I wouldn't be where I am today if you didn't push me in those certain situations and you didn't put all this pressure on me. He believed in me since day one, and I don't think anyone besides my parents, I don't think there has been a coach out there yet that has believed in me since day one. You know, they start to believe in you after you start to have some success, but he believed in me day one when I was hitting 150 in the fall. I was a mess my freshman year, but he always knew that I could do something with softball. And so McNeese, it's a small school. It's not a Pac-12. It's not an SEC school. It's not one of those big name schools, but it was the perfect size for me and the perfect program for me to get started and to get to where I am today.
What was it like to put on that college jersey for the first time with McNeese?
Amazing. I had so many emotions. I was just super excited. Still very young, you know, you have kind of all those emotions where you're a freshman, you're playing in the big stage. You kind of put this extra pressure on yourself because it's like the beginning of your college career. But the team that I had my freshman year, the girls, my freshman classmates, we were a very close team, and we went through everything together. So it was really nice to be able to start my career with those ladies and to have the strength and the belief that that we had in each other. We were really tight, and just putting on those uniforms and being able to know that you're not only playing for yourself now, but you're also playing for a whole university, and you're playing for a whole program, and you're playing for your pretty much your past experience, like everything you had to go through as a young player, going through travel ball, going through high school, everything you did leading up to this point. Now you get to put on the big stage and you get to perform and you get to do it in front of the fans and in front of your university. So it was a very nice experience, and definitely something that I always think about and I kind of wish I could go back. But I'm very excited to be where I am right now.
What were some of your college accomplishments?
I had a lot. I broke a lot of records at McNeese. the biggest ones probably being the home run record, the base hit record, walk record. I had a lot of accolades at McNeese. I was a two-time All-American. I was Player of the Year for 4 years, um, Athlete of the Year at McNeese, hitter and Defensive Player of the Year. I had a lot of success at McNeese, but like I said before, like I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for McNeese. They set me up to have that success, and they pushed me to get to where I am today. And so I know the accolades, but I also I cherish more the moments that I had at McNeese, and the staff that was behind me, and the whole team, every team that I had at McNeese, all 4 teams, and just the whole experience overall makes it much more than the accolades.
Of course, with the records that you've broken during your time, are you still the record holder for there, or has somebody come in your place?
I'm the record holder for all of my records except for one. My teammate, Justice McLean, she's a year younger than me, and she's one of my best friends. She actually beat my base hit record her senior year. So it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it, because if there's anyone that I want to beat my record, it's definitely her. And she worked so hard for that. And I just love the fact that she was able to beat me out on that spot, and to hold a record at one of the best universities we've ever been to.
What was the transition like from you from going from college to, of course, playing international with a national team, as you played for the Italian national softball?
So the cool thing for me is that the transition happened at the same time. So I started on the national team in 2014. So as I was going into my freshman year, so I was kind of going into 2 transitions at once. McNeese definitely set me up to have a different mindset with the national team, and be able to lead them a lot better. And just because I've been under a lot of pressure situations and playing against high level teams, so being able to bring what I learned from my college to the national team has helped a lot. But there definitely is difference when you're playing at a college level and when you're playing internationally. It's just a different style of play, I think, especially in Europe. Just a lot more different. There's more small game. There's different styles of pitching, just a different atmosphere in international. And it's just, I believe international is more, it's like when I felt a lot of pressure in college, I enjoyed going from college to international, because in international, I was able to feel a little bit more free and be able to just enjoy the game, and realize why I love the game so much. So it's kind of like you go through college, you're doing your job, you're doing what you need to do. You have all this pressure and you have to succeed. And then you get to international and you just can have fun, and you can breathe, and you can just enjoy your time with your teammates. And so that was, I think, a very balanced relationship that I had with this game.
What was it like this past year competing in Tokyo?
Amazing. I've told this, I've gotten this question a lot, but I still to this day can't find the right words to describe the experience that I had. And the funny thing is, when my mom went in 2000, I always asked her this question. It's like, how was it going to the Olympics? Like, what was this experience like? And she would always tell me, like, I can't give you one word to describe it, because it was just so magical and it felt like a dream come true, but I can't find the right words to describe it. And I would always kind of just laugh and be like, that's crazy that you can't find like something to describe that experience. But now that I've been in that experience, I understand her, because it was just such a dream come true, and it still doesn't feel real, being surrounded by the most elite athletes out there, and just being able to be next to athletes that you see on TV, that you've seen on TV your whole life, and being able to go to the cafeteria and they're standing right next to you. Like it's an amazing experience. And it's definitely something that I'll bring with me forever, and I'll cherish every single moment.
Of course, now that you came back from the Olympics, and obviously your mother went to the Olympics, how special is that both of y'all have been to the Olympics in your softball careers?
It's amazing. It's definitely made us a lot closer, and our bond is a lot stronger. She's been through everything that I've been through step by step. She was the one that pushed me every single day. She gave me that motivation when I couldn't find it. Some days it's hard for an athlete to find motivation, especially when you're training on your own. And so being able to have her in my corner, and being able to kind of pick her brain and understand how she went through training and how she went through the 4 years to get ready for this moment, definitely brought us a lot closer. And it's just nice to be able to practice with her and be able to kind of live her live the dream that she lived, and now I get to live it. And she always tells me that she's reliving her dream, but through my footsteps and through my experience. So it's just an amazing bond to have, and I'm very grateful for it.
What was a typical game day like for you during the Olympics being in the village?
So in the village, it's kind of like a mini city. You can't leave. So we were kind of just blocked into this mini city with a lot of buildings and a cafeteria. There was shopping. There was like a nail salon. So they made it very homey and very nice, especially during a pandemic since we couldn't leave. But typical game day, we would wake up, go to the cafeteria for breakfast, which the cafeteria was open 24 hours. So it's always open. You can go when you want, and it's open to every athlete. So you would go in sometimes like in the busy hours, and there would be 5,000 athletes just eating food, and you're just surrounded by all these athletes. And there was different cultures of food. So you could have American food, Chinese food, Japanese food, Italian. Like they had every single culture in there, which was really nice. And we would get breakfast. If our game was later, we would have a kind of an hour to stretch as a team and do some yoga and kind of like meditate outside. And then because of COVID, we had a lot of protocols to follow, which kind of made your pregame a lot longer than usual. So we would just get ready, go on the bus, head to the field, and have to wait our specific time frames to go do certain things while the other team was doing things. And just always wearing a mask, always sanitizing, and only moving. You only left the village to go to your game, then you'd come straight back. So there was very limited movements, but it was an overall the Japanese culture and Japan in general is so amazing and so organized that I don't think this experience could have gone any better.
Of course, what was it like this year with no fans in the stadiums and no fans like in the Olympics period, where obviously your mother, who obviously was in the Olympics, could have been there if there was, and you could have definitely shared that moment of both of y'all being in the Olympics at the same time.
Yeah, so my parents and my sister had actually had their tickets. They had bought their tickets last year for Tokyo, and because they got moved, they had to cancel, and unfortunately, they couldn't get their next ticket for the year later because of no fans. But thankfully, I feel like I was very prepared for this moment because of Athletes Unlimited. Athletes Unlimited last year, our first season, we actually did it with no fans. So being able to kind of have that under my belt and know how to play the game and kind of how to give that extra energy that maybe the fans give you, and now you have to find it yourself and create that energy yourself in the dugout. So I was kind of used to that. And then at the end of the day, I was talking to my teammates about this as well, is you're so focused during the game because you're at the highest level. So there's extra pressure and you kind of have to concentrate even more. So you're so focused on what you're doing and so focused in that moment that during the game, you kind of forget that there are no fans. So you kind of forget that it's silent. I definitely think the atmosphere would have been crazy if there were fans. I think it would have been a whole different experience. But like I said, like once you're in the moment, you can maybe hear them for a couple of minutes, but after that, when you're focused, you really don't even feel the fans there watching and cheering for you. So it was different, but it was definitely something that you could get through easily and kind of just focus on what you had to do.
What were some similarities and differences in between playing for Team Italy and, of course, Athletes Unlimited?
So playing with Team Italy, I guess some differences would just be the level of play. With the Italian national team, you're playing other national teams, but it's not always at the highest level. It depends what national team you're playing. Obviously, if you stay in the Europe area, they're not really that high in level. But when you go to the Olympics, you're playing at the highest level. But Athletes Unlimited, you're playing the most elite athletes every single day. So as a catcher, Athletes Unlimited, I had the hardest lineups every single game because it's 1 through 9, just one of the best hitters out there. And it's just a lot of pressure. And with a national team, it's very hard to find a team that has elite athletes 1 through 9. I can't really say that anymore because of the Olympics, because the Olympics, they're all 1 through 9 really amazing athletes. But besides the Olympics tournament, when you're playing other tournaments, it's really not that high of a level all the time. So Athletes Unlimited definitely puts a lot of pressure on you, and the scoring system makes it so much more fun. And it really makes you kind of go back to the basics and work inning per inning and kind of work with your team to get those extra points. So it's just two different experiences, but two experiences that definitely will help you grow and become a better player.
Of course, during the Olympics this year, what was it like playing against Canada and the United States?
It was fun. Fun for me personally, just because I know so many of the players because of Athletes Unlimited. But it was fun and it was competitive. USA is one of the best teams out there, and just being able to play against them and compete and be at the same level as them was an amazing experience for our team. And even Canada, I know so many of those girls. So it's just fun playing against girls that you've kind of had this experience with and have been a part of your journey, and being able to see them also have success at the big stage is just an amazing accomplishment. And it makes me really happy to be able to share these experiences with my close friends.
What was it like putting on the Team Italy jersey and having, of course, the Olympic rings on that jersey?
Amazing. It's a lot of emotions every time I wear that jersey. It's being on the Thai national team is something I'm very proud of, and it's something that I stand for a lot, and I will fight for the Thai national team every single time. It's my country, it's where I'm from, it's where my whole family's from. So anytime I put that jersey on, it's more it myself is out of the equation. I don't exist anymore. Everything I do is for my country, it's for my family, and it's for the name across my chest. It's so much more. It makes the game so much more than this individual stats and your individual success. And I just love being able to represent Italy in everything that I do. Especially being team captain for Italy, it makes it feel a lot more emotional for me, because it just, it proves that everything that I stand for, and being Italian and being a part of this team, just it kind of elevates that, and it makes it feel a lot more real, and it makes it feel like I'm proud to be Italian and I'm proud to be on this team, but I'm not like, I'm kind of like the face of the Italian national team, if you can say, just because of me being team captain. So I get to kind of use my platform to express that. I get to tell everybody, like, this is it. This is Italy softball. This is what we stand for, and this is how proud we are to be Italian. So it's a very nice platform to have, and I'm very excited to be able to keep sharing our story and to keep putting Italy on the map.
What was it like to have, of course, wear the Athletes Unlimited jersey?
Athletes Unlimited, that was a different emotion, just because when I first put the jersey on, I didn't really know what to expect. Athletes Unlimited was brand new. The point system was brand new. So no one really knew what to expect, but we were just there to have a good time. So it was so much fun to be able to switch jerseys every week and play for different teams. And every week we would come up with different names for our team jerseys and our team colors. So it was overall just such an amazing experience. And it was definitely I think it was an experience that I needed a lot at that moment, because that was the year, obviously, the pandemic started. There was a lot of lockdowns in Italy. So I was confined in one small area in my house, and not playing softball was very hard on me mentally. And so being able to kind of, through everything that I've been through that year and all that negativity that was going on, being able to kind of step out and be able to go to Athletes Unlimited and be able to have that experience during such a tough year was kind of like the light in my life and the light that I needed at the time. So it was an amazing experience, and I literally cannot wait to go back on Sunday. So I'm excited.
Who are some players that you look up to and that you saw in the Olympics that you looked up to?
Everyone, honestly, every player that was there I look up to, but specifically the Japanese team is a team that I idolize a lot. Just the style of play, the competitiveness, the way they're so focused, like the way they pay attention to every small detail. I just love everything about Japan softball. So watching them play, especially their pitcher, who is retiring. She's almost 40 years old, and she's retiring after the Olympics. She decided to retire, and she got a gold medal. So her whole journey, and just, they definitely are someone I look up to, and someone I strive to have the same work ethic as them. And then obviously there's all my friends from Athletes Unlimited that made it to the Olympics. They're just everyone has a different side to them, and they bring a different personality to this journey that I idolize in everything that they do. So I can state a few names. I idolize Victoria Hayward, Kat Osterman, uh, Amanda Chittister, Haley McClenny. All those players are just people that I've always idolized, and now that I know them personally, it just makes it even better.
What is something that you learn now that you didn't know before playing professional softball?
To take it in, I used to be someone that really um let failure get to her. And I kind of started to learn this in college. Is the coolest thing about this sport is that you are set up to fail. You fail 90% of the time in softball. Softball is a failing sport, and you only succeed 10% of the time. So it makes that success so much better when you know everything that you've been through. And so something that I kind of go for right now is just trusting the process, and just trusting that you need to fail in order to get better, and using that failure to grow, and using that failure to make yourself become a different athlete. And I tell this to all the younger girls as well, is like, if you have to want to fail, you have to be able to be okay with failing in order to get better. If you're always someone that succeeds and doesn't ever fail, you're going to go so far, but then you're never going to be able to grow from that, because the moment that you fail the first time, you won't know how to handle it. So I'm very big on that motto, is just accept the failure and learn from it and try to get better.
Do you have any game day routines and rituals that you do?
Yes. So everybody that knows me as a softball player knows that I always have the same braids in my hair. So I always will do 3 side braids, and then I'll do a ponytail and do my 3 braids on the ponytail. That's routine every single game day. Other than that, it depends, and it goes kind of by how I'm playing. I'm very superstitious. So for example, if one morning I'm eating waffles or oatmeal and I have a really good game and I have another game coming up, I tend to eat the same breakfast, or I tend to do the same things that I did that one day. So I'm very superstitious, but that seems to change a lot. So just the most, I think, routine that I have is my hair.
What advice would you give current and future professional softball players looking to play in college?
Just love the game, and love everything that it brings you. College softball is extremely hard. It puts you in a lot of hard situations, and it puts a lot of pressure on you. And it's a place that is gonna tear you down, but it's gonna make you better at the end. So if you don't love the sport, then it's gonna be a very hard journey for you. And I always try to tell the young girls is really dig deep and figure out why you love this sport, because when the days get hard and when you're going through stuff in college that's meant to break you down, you need to find that love for the game, and you need to find your why. So just always do something because you love it, not because your parents are forcing you to, or not because you think that's what you have to do. Really just listen to your heart and do something that you love.
What advice would you give for current and future professional softball players?
For current and professional players, I would probably just say um, to keep learning, be kind of in the moment, and you're surrounded by so many elite athletes constantly in the pro world, and you should always want to get better, and you always should want to pick people's brains and try to adapt your game every single time. You can't stay consistent. You can't stay the same player. If you come in as a rookie and you're a certain player, and 3 years later you're that exact same player, that means you're not growing. That means you're not learning from your peers. So I would just try to pick as many brains as possible, and just try to learn from the older ones, and try to learn from their journeys and their experiences.
What advice would you give people looking to play in the Olympics?
Well, for now, I guess you just have a lot of time to train, because the next Olympics aren't for 7 years. But if you have a dream to go to the Olympics, then put your head down and get to work, because it's honestly the best experience, and it's definitely something that I would sacrifice everything for. Everything that I've had to sacrifice, it was definitely worth it. And if I could look back and look back to the 4 years of training and the 4 years of sacrifices that I've had to make to be where I am, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do everything exactly the same, if not even more. So definitely, if you're someone that wants to go to the Olympics, then do what it takes, and keep working on your game, and keep being open-minded, and learn from the ones above you.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
So you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Erika_20. So that's URKA_20. My Twitter has the exact same handle, just with an extra U in the beginning. And that's about it. You can find me on Facebook, pretty much any social media. I have the same handle everywhere.
Thank you again, Erika, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Italian team and Athletes Unlimited.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on your podcast, Brandon.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Erika, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.